Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom. And today we're going to talk about Match Me Abroad. Season 2, episode 2 is called All Fired Up. So hopefully you got a chance to watch Match Me Abroad. I know it hasn't been out for like probably a year and a half, pushing 2 years. So a lot of people may have forgot about it. It's on the TLC channel and it follows how many matches? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Americans looking for love abroad or single Americans, because they don't feel that the dating life in the United States has got them anywhere. So they want to see what they can find out there for their happily ever after with a matchmaker. And the matchmakers are located for these singles anyways, Brazil, Singapore, and Ireland. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and leave me your comments. Tell me what you think about Match Me Abroad. Is this your first time watching the season, or are you coming back as a returning subscriber? So either way, thank you for joining. All right. Excuse me. So the episode picks back up with Amber. I believe she's 38, from Texas, excuse me, who was going on a date with Kevin, who she met at the singles mixer that was set up by matchmaker Katarina. Now, Amber is in Ireland, and, at the mixer, Kevin and Amber did seem like they hit it off, but to me it seemed like Amber hit it off more with Kevin than Kevin with Amber, because Amber was just like all in your personal space. Like Kevin was sitting here and she was like literally like inches away from his face, just giving like the googly eyes, kind of like, to me it came across like teenage or first love, or I don't know, something like that mentality, just like like laughing at every joke and just being all starry-eyed and just like, ooh, I like this, and ooh, I like that, and what do you think about this? All that, right? So to me, and I mentioned in the first episode, which was the last one, I said if Kevin had asked Amber, this is my opinion, if she wanted to go somewhere quiet, Amber probably would have ran out of her shoes, because that's the energy she's giving, that energy, right? Now, backstory to Amber, if you didn't see episode 1, Amber has been engaged 3 times, and she's also admitted that she falls in love easy. But the time she was engaged, she realized that those weren't the men or the people that she was going to eventually marry. And I'm like, so why'd you say yes to the different proposals? Okay. Anyways, that's the answer that I want. Well, again, to me, it just gives off thirsty energy. Now, as Amber is on the way to meet her date, Kevin, in the back of the taxi, she's talking to the taxi driver, and I did notice that the same taxi, excuse me, is the same driver that met another single who also has the same matchmaker, Katarina. So maybe this is the taxi driver slash ears to the ground, not the boots on the ground, but the ears to the ground for matchmaker Katarina, for the different conversations that he may or may not hear along the way, because the taxi driver was sure very attentive to everything that was being said. But then again, Amber is a chatterbox. She likes to talk. She's, to me, an oversharer. She's just like over everything. Really big energy, big hair, big energy, everything. Okay. So she's talking like she's never been anywhere, whether it be out the country, which she may not, but just around. Like everything is like, oh my gosh, I've never seen, and oh my gosh. It was green, right? Grass and trees. So I get it that it's somewhere, you're an entire country and you may not be used to seeing like rolling hills, but it's just the way that she presents. Again, her energy is like, ooh, right? So when Amber finally gets to the destination where Kevin is. She's like, oh, where am I? Right? So because the date is outside of Dublin, and they're in a countryside town. And he's like, he was explaining where she was, and I can't tell you where it was, but it's outside of Dublin, right? So she's like, oh, it's really nice here. So their date is to like farm animals, but they're mainly going to be with alpacas. And to me, an alpaca is like the cousin. I don't know if it is or not, but they look similar to a llama. And alpacas, their fur or I guess down or whatever is the same or similar. You can use it in clothing, just like you can like wool from sheep. So like cousins, like distant cousins with the different things that you can do with their fur or down or whatever it's called, right? So they're walking along with the llamas. They're both animal lovers, and Katarina in production says that she feels like Kevin and Amber has a strong connection, but is worried a little bit because Amber likes to rush into situations. And it was just like I mentioned, everything's just like starry-eyed, googly-eyed, like all up in your personal space. Like you just met this man. Now I get it. For some people, there's like love at first sight, but Amber gives me is love, lust, like fill in the blank at first sight with everyone she meets. And she just like, you want to go somewhere? So do I. You want to do something? I do too. That type of energy is like, hold your horses. Yes, on the farm, but like pull back a little bit, like get to know somebody and stop giving off that energy like I'm ready when you are, because if you're looking for someone like Amber says that's grown, mature, has his own, the energy that you're giving off is a lot. And it's not necessary right now. So one of the most interesting things is while they're out there with those llamas, one of those llamas, I guess they kind of do similar things like camels do in this way. I guess one kind of like spit in her direction. And then she was like, oh, she said she don't want to make a scene. She was like, did it get in my hair, my face? But she said, oh, I guess it got on my lashes a little bit. I know if it was me, I would have been like, I need some Kleenex. But you're trying to save face because he don't know you, really. You don't know him. And you're just trying to make it seem like it didn't really bother you or whatever, right? So when they're done with the llamas and everything, they sit down and the person who owns the farm brings some champagne. So they give like a little bit of a toast. It's like, I was really glad to meet you last night. And, I think we have a good connection so far. But let me say this, in confessional, Kevin says going to the mixer was out of his element. He enjoys, or I should say, enjoyed meeting Amber. He wants to see where, I don't know, things could go. It was only the first date. But he said that he's also looking for his forever, and he's at a point in his life now. I'm guessing he's also in his 30s, or maybe he's 40s, who knows. But we're at a time in his life where he's ready to settle down and, have his white picket. And so, he'll just see where things go. And he was just excited to get out of his comfort zone, right? So, and I'm like, out of your comfort zone, what, for the mixer or dating someone like Amber? Because Amber is African-American. So I'm just kind of curious which one he's talking about. But anyways, so as they're talking about, different little things, getting to know each other. So Amber says that, tell me a little bit about yourself and different things. When she finds out that Kevin says that he still lives at home, in confessional, Amber was like, in my mind, I'm screaming. But out of production, sitting in Kevin's, face to face, she's like, okay. So in confessional, also too, she says actually in confessional, and I do believe talking to Katarina, that she wants somebody who's independent, doesn't live with his family, or he's not a mama's boy. She goes, because, if he's a mama's boy, he's used to getting his clothes washed, food cooked, just meals prepared, just everything. She's like, and they would want the same thing from her. And that's not what she's wanting to do. And I'm like, you know what? I know there's a stigma of a mama's boy or whatever, but if you are going to be, or want to be a wife. Is so the two don't go hand in hand, but you know, if he cooks or you cook, or he cleans or you cleans, like you're not gonna cook or clean or do anything at all. You're just gonna hire somebody for that, because that's what she's giving. She's like she just don't want to do anything. And I'm not saying she has to, but it's like, you know, why do you feel like that would be something that you wouldn't want to do? Like, you know, take over doing XYZ, and maybe he could take over doing something. Like, she's assuming he's a mama's boy. I mean, he could be living at home for any type of reason. Maybe one of his parents are sick or something like that. Sometimes people have different circumstances where they live at home past a certain age. And who put the stigma on you have to leave home at a certain age? Anyways, now if you're just a bum, and bums could be male or female, that's different. You know, you need to get up, find a job, do something. But overall, most people, not everyone, who live at home after a certain age do it for helping a family member or a business or something of that nature. So anyways, I don't know, Amber, like I said, her energy to me, I'm gonna need to see a little bit more of Amber, because right now I'm not feeling it. I don't, it's not giving a success rate, whether it be Kevin or any other date that she may have. Because I know on the show the season 1, that I know they went on 3 different dates with 3 different potential partners for the matchmakers. But so far, I don't know. I don't know if the type of man that she's looking for or wants in Ireland or anywhere else right now meets her expectations, because Amber is something else. All right, let's move to Harold. So Harold was on season 1. He was in Prague, Czechoslovakia, season 1. This time he thinks he could find love, and it's possible. We'll see the show goes along. In Singapore, so it's a different matchmaker in Singapore by the name of, do believe it's Dolly? Yes. And so Dolly has set him up with a mock date. And the mock date is to see how Harold is going to interact with a woman, you know, of a different culture that he's not necessarily used to. Now, Dolly already heard from, because Katarina was his original matchmaker too, who's also helping out Amber in Ireland right now. She's already given the 411 or the information on Harold. Harold is quirky. He is nerdy. These are things that he said. And Harold is also on the spectrum. So different things that Harold's like, and, you know, gets his attention here. Like, his attention span is short, and he just, like, you know, he just goes by the flow, goes by the seat of his pants. The things that Dolly has said on their first initial meeting, the first episode, and this one, with Harold's confidence and just the way his personality is, and just the way he moves in life, and his confidence, to me, Dolly is throwing jabs, like subtle jabs. She's like, well, you know, Singaporean women don't like this, and they like a man who is strong, is confident, is this and is that. I mean, hello, that's what people want in a relationship. Just don't have to be Singapore. But Harold's personality, you can't, when someone's on the spectrum like that, you can't expect Harold to do things that worked for your other people you've matched that wasn't on the spectrum, because he does things different. Like I said, he moves different. His confidence is different. Things he likes is different, right? Harold is a talker, but then again, in certain situations, he shuts down. When he shuts down, he's nervous. He starts sweating. He goes into different conversation. He doesn't necessarily stay on task in conversation. So you could be talking about, let's see, he mentioned he likes fishing, and then he goes from fishing to, I like fishing. Do you like fishing? Well, I also collect rocks. Do you collect rocks? How about painting? You know, stuff like that. And so he was doing those things on a mock date. And I know the date, she was a little bit thrown off, but she was kind of like trying to see where it was going and moving along with the flow. And then Harold does or pulls out something he did last season. Harold likes to paint and draw, so he does individual pictures, and he even brought some individual, like little 5x7 pictures in a little notebook that he likes to give to people, especially dates who he finds attractive. So he actually gave one to the mock date. And even though he knew it was a mock date, Harold, I think, is someone who loves love, and I think he's just attracted to women in general. And the lady was like, oh, this is nice and everything. So, I mean, she didn't really give too much, the mock date person didn't really give too much feedback for Harold. She was just kind of like, yeah. So whatever he was saying, like I said, she was going with the flow. Again, Harold is someone who's easily distracted. So eventually, Dolly, the matchmaker, who was sitting at a different table, came over and stopped the date and just went over things that could be improved. And she goes, I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And you don't have to sugarcoat anything because Harold is grown. He's in his 40s or whatever. But again, he learns and thinks in a different way that maybe other people don't if they're not on the spectrum. She says that, Harold doesn't necessarily stay on topic. Like I mentioned, he skips ahead a lot. That, his posture is bad. He needs to sit up and just all these little things. Yes, he could sit up with his posture, and yes, he could be a little bit more attentive, but Harold was nervous. He was sweating, and he just, that's just him. Different environments throw him off. And I just think that Dolly needs to have a little bit softer, a little bit lighter approach with Harold to find out what actually works for him and what avenue, what direction he should go in, and not just, be like, you need to do this, and this. Because like I said, her subtle jabs, just because he's quirky and he's on the spectrum, whatever, Harold is definitely high functioning. But you can feel when things shift in people and the energy changes. I'm sure Harold has picked up on that too. In confessional, Harold said he's taken everything in. He's taken the corrections, the suggestions. He's ready to go on dates to find his love and everything. But at the same time, he's apprehensive about the process. So, like I said, you don't have to baby him, but, again, you just have to take a different approach. And we'll just have to see what happens with Dolly and Harold. I don't think Harold will tell Dolly, at least right now, like, hey, let me be me, kind of. But I can see as the show progresses, Harold, because he had to say that to Katarina last season, like, let me do me. This is me. He takes corrections, from clothing to talking points to different activities. Let him be him. You don't have to come across the way you come across Dolly. Like, I'm not feeling that energy. Anyways, let's move to Victoria. Victoria is brand new this week. First impressions on Victoria, because I did first impressions the last time. Last week for episode 1 for the new singles, I should say. First impression is Victoria talks too much. Victoria also possibly overcompensates in social situations. And I give first impression, she gives me nerdy too. And being nerdy isn't a bad thing. She just gives me nerdy like she's into comic books and different things that a lot of people would consider nerdy. And if you are into comic books or whatever, I'm not saying that you are, but that's my first impressions of Miss Victoria. Now, Victoria describes herself as eclectic and has a resting, happy face. And she says she talks a lot with her hands. And, people notice that she talks a lot with her hands. And that's what she does with her hands all the time and just very expressive. I'm like, girl, yes, maybe, she says she works in liquor sales, same thing. Maybe she should have tried a different career. She likes to talk with her hands, So anyways, that's just me. She said she's also a dog mom and loves living in New York City, but she says finding love has been tough. Victoria says she's a professional first dater, says she's been on 75 first dates, and like most of these singles on here, says dating America is hard. So now she found Katarina, so she's going to Ireland to hopefully meet her Mr. Right. She says she's hoping that she has someone that's ginger or redheaded. She likes freckles and says she hopes they like to drink beer because, like I mentioned, she's in alcohol/liquor sales, or works for a company that does all that. And so if they like beer, so does she. Okay. Now, Victoria's friend has come over to help Victoria pack because she's in the next scene. She's actually leaving for Ireland. Her and her friend get to talking about dating. Victoria says, I put all my eggs in one basket, and I'm tired of putting all my eggs in one basket. I want someone to help me put my eggs in the right basket. Okay, I had to do all this because, like, she talks with her hands, so you got to be all like this, right? And her friend co-signs that. She's like, yeah, a lot of us have done that, and I need help putting my eggs in the same basket too. But listen, your friend Victoria is on the show, so if things work out for her, maybe she gives a reference for you. Victoria said she's also dated someone from Ireland before, and they're still friends. And so she called him up and was like, hey, I'm going to Ireland to see if I can find a match doing my matchmaker. Like, what do you think about that? And she said, oh, yeah, I think you should. So I'm like, okay, if he's your friend, he's like, okay, cool. Like, that's on you. It's not like they're together or exes or anything. He was like, yeah, cool. What's right for you? What's right for you? Now, in confessional, production asked Victoria, why does she think that she would have success in Ireland? And it took her a minute. She was like, you really want me to answer that? The truth? Production was like, yeah, I like truths, right? She goes, well, she feels that a lot of Irish women don't have fake boobs, but she feels Irish men would like her fake boobs. I'm like, okay, girl, if you think so. I mean, that's if you think so. So Victoria also says that she spent many months researching men in Ireland and researching her matchmaker, Katarina, and that, she's ready now. She's ready to meet her man. So when we see Victoria again, she's actually meeting, I'll put her picture back up there, meeting with matchmaker Katarina because she has made it to Ireland, right? So Katarina in production confessional says that she says that Victoria is an independent and quirky woman, but she also says that describing yourself as quirky and independent and going with the flow gives a desperate vibe, and you will date anyone. I said, does it? So thinking you go with the flow and you're like, oh, I'm quirky, I just do whatever, gives desperate? I said, I never heard that before. Maybe some people might reevaluate how they date, because who knew that gave desperate vibes, right? So Katarina also said that with Victoria being a people pleaser, like she adjusts to whatever, like people she's hanging out with is whatever they're going to do. Like it's just okay, whatever. But that's what people pleasers do. Oh, you going there? Cool. I'll meet you there. Or you going there? Okay, cool. Oh, we want to eat there? Cool. So, if you just want to, I guess, for Victoria, now that I'm thinking about the way Katarina describes it, people pleaser, quirky, independent, and yeah, it kind of does give her the desperate vibe, right? Like Katarina says she needs to figure out what it is that she wants and she needs for better success. Now, one thing I thought I was telling was Katarina asked Victoria, did she do her homework? And the homework was writing down your wants and needs of what you thought of a man or what you wanted in a man and different things like that. Victoria said, yeah, I did. She said, I also asked my friends, to look at my list to see what they thought. And so Katarina said, so you need your friends to tell you what it was that you were looking for, what you wanted, what you needed in a man? Like you couldn't make that decision for yourself. So if your friend said, this is what you need and to take this off your list and put that on, that's what you would do? You would change it? She's like, no, I just wanted their opinion. She was like, okay. So Katarina says, so tell me if you think that's on the list. She said, well, she wants someone who they have good chemistry, someone who likes to recycle, has to be 6 foot tall. And so Katarina says, so if they were shorter, like you don't think you would find love? She goes, no, it's not that. She just, that's just what she wrote down, somebody that she would prefer, 6 feet tall. And now Victoria looks like she's on the shorter side. So some people just have height preferences. That doesn't mean that you won't find somebody, I'm saying, that was taller or shorter or whatever. So once they get to the hotel to drop off Victoria, Katarina says, we'll get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow. And then we'll go over what your wants and your needs and your desires. And then I'll have some dates, potential matches set up for you. And so in the hotel room, Victoria says, I thought Katarina would have been a little bit better than that. Like, why was she judging me because I asked my friends for help? And, working with Katarina, she may not be able to find my true match because she comes across tough and harsh. So I don't know if I'll be able to work with her. How would she know what kind of guys I'm looking for? So I'm like, Victoria, are you serious? You did your research. You found Katarina. Clearly you spoke before you came over to Ireland, and you had decent meetings, and you decided to finally fly out to Ireland. And you think that she's being harsh because she asked you about your friends, looking at your list, and like, what if they change things, versus your wants and needs? Yeah. So now I think, maybe Katarina might be the best bet for you, because it is screaming a little desperate right now. But Katarina in her confessional said, you know what? She really has to think about the type of man that Victoria wants, needs, and desires. She'll have to put her, her thinking cap on, and maybe she'll have to get a match that's outside the box just to get Victoria to open up to see like there's other things out there, or just to challenge her in a way to see, what kind of man could be like. Maybe your friends would pick this, or, the opposite of what she wants, because, Victoria is acting like, maybe she don't need Katarina or something. I don't know. Okay. Finally, we have Monica, and Monica is returning from episode 1. She's made it to Brazil to meet with her matchmaker, Luiza. Now, before Monica came to Brazil, Luiza had sent a video of a potential match of Bruno. And so Monica's like, ooh, I can't wait to meet Bruno. So when Luiza and Monica meet, listen, Monica's like, hey, I'm ready to go on this date with Luiza. But Luiza's like, pump your brakes, okay? Seems like you already have an attraction to Bruno, which is fine, but you don't know him like that. You need to ask him questions. You need to see what he likes. You don't need to lead with any type of sexual energy, because anytime you lead with sexual energy, then what are you really offering to somebody? And, apparently Monica has done that in the past. But, Monica has also said in episode 1 that she's had terrible dating along the way with guys. Her history wasn't the best. She's also trying to find a potential partner. She's an empty nester now. She doesn't want to live life alone. I personally said, my first impression of her last week was her self-esteem is a little bit low. She doesn't feel confident in herself, and she just, she shuts down. And I'm not gonna say that's true because I don't know her, but Luiza, the matchmaker, had also said that later on in the episode before I even saw that. So that's the energy that Monica is coming through. But Luiza tells Monica that she's not going to go on a date with her first date with Bruno like she thinks. She has already set her up with someone else who she hasn't seen before and that she hasn't made a first impression with. And so Monica's like, ooh, I don't know, but she's ready to give it a try. So next week, we're actually going to see the date with Monica, her first date. Looks like they're playing soccer, and I know Europeans call it football. She said that, she's attracted to her date, but her date brought friends. I guess they have like a little tournament going on. She seemed like all his friends are fine. I'm like, girl, you are only on a date with one person. Okay. Harold is also on his first date. I'm hoping it's a first date and not another mock date. Get him past the mock dates. He's too grown for mock dates. He had a potential love on season 1, didn't work out. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's move him past that, right? He deserves this. Looks like they're at an art studio doing like the little paint. I don't know if they're painting and sipping. You know, those different little art places do that. But they're painting, and Harold is overly focused on what the matchmaker wants him to do. And to me, like I said, if you're not being natural, especially for Harold, who's easily distracted, he's going to get anxious. And then Amber, put her back up. Amber meets back up with her matchmaker, Katarina. And that's where she tells Katarina that she is not happy with a man living at home, that she wants somebody a little bit more stable. So we'll see how that conversation goes, and if there's a reason why Kevin, her first date, still lives at home. Like, it could be something else going on that we don't know just yet. So, all right, everyone. That was episode 2 of Match Me Abroad. Hopefully you got a chance to watch it. It comes out on Sundays on TLC and also different streaming channels. So hopefully you got caught up. Leave me your comments. Let me know what you thought about it. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, live simply, be grateful.